Hello my strong friends. Today I'm going to take you through what I've been doing to kind of cure and remedy a big weakness of mine, which is knee valgus. A lot of times, not a lot of times, but sometimes you'll see lifters, especially when they're under a very heavy load, their knees will start to cave, and that is my biggest weakness, the biggest thing that I struggle with in my powerlifting career, I would say. And that has been something that, you know, sometimes people will comment on it on the internet, and that's totally something that's on my mind and something that I've been working on addressing. No one has noticed this because no one notices when you fix like kind of boring weaknesses, but I have remedied it quite a bit, and it doesn't have much to do with an adjustment of training, has everything to do with what I've been doing before every squat session. So I have a lot longer of a warm-up with a lot of glute activation exercises to kind of turn my glutes on and strengthen that area so that I am not caving at the knee. It is definitely like, it's a programming adjustment because we think of our programs as like pre, during, and post programming, but yeah, I'm gonna give you all of these glute activation and core activation exercises that I do that I think really have helped my squat and really have helped me start to cue and feel some of those corrections that I needed to cure this knee valgus. I had one person recognize that I cured it. Thank you to Colin. Thank you, my brother. So yeah, let's just get into this video. I hope that you guys enjoy it. Oh, I didn't notice you there. As you know, if you've seen any of my other warm-up videos, we ramp, we raise our heart rate. I'm raising it. Yeah, first I do recommend some sort of warm-up, whether it be like, usually I bicycle to the gym if I don't have that opportunity to do that, because now I live in Whistler. I will get on the treadmill for like 5 minutes, just get my heart rate up, get the kinks out. Next we activate, and that's going to be basically the focus of this video. I never have had any problems with mobilization, so like the M of the ramping method is not as essential to correcting my weaknesses. So really this is a glute activation video. I'm going to give you all of the exercises that I do. Some of you may be watching this and be like, you're kidding, you don't do all of those things before you squat. I do, and it sucks. And
sometimes you do in between. Yeah, as you're warming up.
As I'm warming up, as I'm in the potentiation phase, slowly adding more weight on the bar, I'll go back if I'm not feeling my glutes firing, if I'm not feeling as activated as I should be, I'll go back. For the first exercise, I'm gonna try and teach you how to squeeze your booty. This is probably something that I didn't understand how to engage my glutes at all. I didn't understand how to like activate and move my ass muscles. So this exercise is gonna seem a little bit weird. It's something that Ryan learned from a physio, and it's a little bit fun because they're like squeezing your butt, but you're gonna set up on the ground and put your hands, palms facing the floor, under your butt so that you can start to feel the sensation, like feel it, the feedback on your hands, and also you're gonna really focus on squeezing your glute. To do this, we're gonna do squeeze one glute at a time as we're laying down on the ground, and then you're going to fully engage and then release that squeeze.
So you're gonna do a full contraction as hard as you can, kind of hold it for maybe 4 or 5 seconds, and then incrementally release it while still maintaining some degree of engagement.
Exactly. So Ryan's gonna coach me through this just to keep me a little bit honest, and you guys will see. Maybe he can zoom into my butt so you can see can see the engagement.
So let's start with your left. So this camera side. All right. Okay. Now when you're ready, you're gonna squeeze your left butt cheek as hard as you can. Fully contract it. Feel it. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Now we're gonna release down to about 75% of your pressure. Just a little bit. Keep holding it. Down to about 50%. Loosen up there. Hold it. Don't stop. Down to about 25%. Not all the way there. Almost. Now release it all the way. Do you think those are about full 25% increments, or was it like 10%, 10%, 50%, and then drop?
Yeah, sometimes it definitely is a little bit difficult to really understand like how engaged you actually are, but this is a fun little thing. I think it's kind of like silly and goofy, but fun to feel how tight you can squeeze your glutes, because I don't think when someone tells you to flex, we go to immediately flexing as hard as possible. but to slowly activate that and have control over that activation is going to be much more helpful, especially in something like a squat.
Totally. And control through the entire contraction is
exactly.
huge.
So I'll have him do the other side, but you guys get the gist of it. And yeah, try this and start to focus on how much control you have over the activation of the muscles that you want to activate.
Here we go. Let's squeeze all the way on your right cheek. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Down to about 75%. Come on, keep squeezing it. Down to 50%. Control it, fight it. Down to 25%. Now fully release.
See, it's like my 25% should be like here.
90, 85, 70, and then drop. But it's one of those things where you can work up 25, 50, 75, 100, right, and then back down. And it's one of those things as well where the more repetitions you go, the better sort of feeling and you get for the movement. So
right.
So you'll do these in like sets of 3 each side and then kind of go back and forth a few times.
Yeah, so practice that, work that in as your first exercise for this warm-up. The next exercise that I'm gonna do is a pretty simple movement that you've probably done before. It's a bird dog, and what I'm doing is keeping my body stable on my hand and knee that are grounded, and focusing on reaching my arm and leg out and extending those while activating at the core and keeping my balance. Since I have less balance as if I were to be on a quadruped position, I'm trying to keep that balance and activating that core, keeping my shoulders and hips square. Next, we're going to do clamshells. I started out doing something like a fire hydrant movement, but I prefer the clamshells over the fire hydrants because you have a little bit less room in the clamshell to like use your hips to extend. So clamshells now, I'm really just focusing on activating my glute here, staying stable. If I'm using my left knee to extend, I'm keeping my right knee on the ground. To the other side. And all of these, you'll notice, I'm poking my booty.
Feeling it the whole time?
I'm poking my glute med, because that's where I want the activation. That's gonna stop, when I strengthen those, that's gonna stop my knees from caving in because I'll have the glute strength to keep my knees in line.
Just tracking over your feet.
Exactly. Next, we're gonna do a hip circle walk. You can use plenty of things to do this movement. They're really cheap and affordable as well. I have of course, the slingshot hip circle, or you can get just simple bands. This one's from Perform Better, or if you can double up a standard like long band that you'll probably have at your gym already. If you don't have these, I'm gonna be using the hip circle to do these. When you're doing this, it's important to control yourself. We don't want to have a huge range of motion and be stepping out so big. The range of motion is gonna be really short. Get in a partial squat position and just internally rotate your toes just slightly so that we're activating already. When I do that and I'm in the partial squat, I can feel my glute med start to activate already. So we're just going to control and do a little bit of a hip circle walk. Poke that muscle, girl. I know you can feel it.
Hold that squat. Good.
Very controlled. Not very sexy. But you're starting to feel it burn a little bit.
Good job.
I'm doing this for activation, but if you're looking for any booty builders, you can definitely do a lot of these too. They're not only gonna activate your muscles before your workout, you can also use these as accessories. A lot of my lower body bro days, I will use a lot of these movements. Just a little bit more volume, a little bit higher intensity.
All right, now come back, get into a slightly deeper squat on this one.
Girl.
Here you go. Come on, don't hold that squat. Let's go.
Am I done?
Yep.
Those are the first 3 exercises that you're gonna want to superset. So I wanna see, after you finish the squeezing drill, I wanna see the bird dogs, clamshells, hip circle walk. After you do 3 rounds of each of those, and if you need to, as you're putting more weight on the bar, come back to any of these exercises like I mentioned earlier. Next, we're gonna get more specific and do some very, very slow tempo kettlebell squats. So, whew, girl, this is heavy. You can do this barefoot. It's just a front-loaded squat. Think about pushing the knees out, activating the glutes, very, very slowly getting into your squat. Hold for 5 seconds. And you can come up a little bit faster if you need to. This isn't an exhaustive list, of course. This is just what I've been doing and some of my favorite moves combined to show you a good circuit. This is what I do before my squats. Now, it is important to mix things up. If you find that one of these exercises isn't working for you, I am gonna list other variations and show them now. Feel free to switch it up, see exactly which ones work for you. Definitely check out other people who talk about glute activation. There's a ton of resources out there, thankfully, within the past couple of years. A lot of people have been studying on it. But yeah, this has completely helped my squat.
Should we show an old clip of your squat versus
We'll show the knee valgus, and we'll show the improvement of where I was to where I am now. I think if you compare 2015 especially to most recent nationals, you'll just see the improvement. We've really been focused on our warm-ups, and we've really been trying to treat our training sessions more like a professional. You might not be there, you might be watching this just to find some good glute exercises. These are going to be great for that as well. Not an exhaustive list, like I said. There's plenty of things that you can load for glute exercises. You can load a barbell for hip thrusts. I just showed the variation without a barbell for glute activation purposes. You are getting closer and closer and more specific to getting up to squatting. You saw I, started with laying on the ground, and then I gradually got more and more specific to the actual movement that I'm, preparing for. So make sure that when you transition to goblet squats and then put a barbell on your back, make sure that you are still focused on activating those muscles that you've activated. Make sure that you're not doing that for no reason. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to like and subscribe, and let me know if you have any lifting questions or have some weaknesses that you need help being addressed so I can make for my next video. And if you're not already subscribed, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. We did it!